Hello, everyone. So my name is Trisha Kirby. I work on Claudia Muehlenweg's team, the Naturally Clear Vision Institute, and I'm one of the vision coaches for them. In today's topic, we're going to be talking about hydration. Now, you may be wondering, what does hydration have to do with better vision? And I will tell you that there's a lot to do with the body and the eyes that has to do with hydration and hydration being good for you. Being dehydrated is one of the indicators behind a lot of visual problems. It's not the end all be all of all of them, but it contributes to glaucoma. It can contribute to cataracts. It can definitely contribute to dry eyes. It can contribute to floaters. So there's a lot of things that it relates to. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth on the science part of this because honestly, we're going to have a doctor on next week, Dr. Valerie, who's going to be talking about this more in depth. And she will also be covering the topic of hydration more from a science perspective than me. Mine's going to be hands-on. I really want to give you some insights into this subject and some things that are really practical and easy that you can do to be more hydrated. And dehydration is a big topic. It's for your overall health of your entire body, not just your vision, but in particular, we're talking about vision today. So I want to mention a book. It's called Your Body's Many Cries for Water by Dr. Batman Galaji, it's called. And it says, you are not sick, you are thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medications. And it's really true. So being dehydrated is one of these things that we don't notice it until stuff starts to go wrong and we end up having to go to the hospital or have some illness or something, and we don't realize that the start of this was actually dehydration. It was not, I don't know how to pronounce it. Batman Gelly, I think. It's a watercure.com, but I don't even know if this is still in print. This is an older book, but really good book. So, but he talks about the many, many, many factors that water plays in our life and being more hydrated, how it helps us. Now, one of the things we want to talk about in this particular talk is that drinking gallons and gallons and gallons of water every single day may not be hydrating to you. And I learned this one myself, actually. So, which is part of the reason I wanted to talk about it. You can, if you're not absorbing the water yourself, or, well, I'm going to talk about this in a second, the little hack that I'm going to give you. But ideally, the recommendation that is given, and nothing I say in medical disclaimer, real quick, nothing I say is to be taken as medical advice, and obviously consult your doctor for anything. I'm strictly talking about the things that have worked for me. So when the general recommendation is to drink half of your body weight in pounds in ounces. So I'm just going to round down here. I weigh about 100 pounds. I probably weigh I think 113 pounds. So let's say 105 or 100, let's say 110 pounds, half of that, 55. And then you take the 55 and that would be the number of ounces that you should drink per day, 55 ounces of water. That to me is a lot, ends up feeling like a lot. And on top of that, if you drink something that's generally dehydrating, like a diuretic, like you're drinking caffeine, so coffee or Coca-Cola, sodas, you need to add that number of, the recommendation again is to add another number of those glasses. Like for every glass you have of coffee or cup of coffee, you have to add that in ounces back to your total water that you need to drink. So that's a lot. But is your body really absorbing the water? Is your body absorbing the water? So I've been studying water for about 25 years. My family and I were studying the work of Viktor Schauberger. Now, Victor, this is a book called Living Energies by Callum Coates. So Viktor Schauberger was a forester in Austria and a naturalist and an inventor, scientist. And he talked about how there was different types of water. He's considered one of the founding fathers of this idea of structured water. And the idea behind structured water is it being more hydrating for the cells because of spinning, we talk about the use of the vortex. So he talks about water having structure to it. And I'm showing this as an example of like the vortex movement. And then I have a bigger one too. He talks about how if you're out in nature and you're looking at a body of water, you can see sometimes these eddying motions in the water. And he talked about water is naturally aerated, structured, carrying oxygen, but it's all different ways of the water swirling and moving. And this swirling movement creates a structure to the water, and then that water structure is more hydrating than so-called dead water, which is like kind of like the water that comes into our homes that we all drink every single day, unless you drink bottled water, which of course has its own problem. So I wanted to talk today about a few practical ways that you can hydrate better and go into and create a structured water experience. I want to refer to Dr. Gerald Pollack, who wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water, Beyond Solid Liquid Vapor. So he describes another phase of water. And we normally think of water as there's liquid water, then there's solid water, which of course is ice. Think of ice, vapor water, which is like steam. So but he said there's another phase, and that's water that is a structured water, easy water that he calls it's a gel. And he said when you create a gel, it makes the water more absorbable. And this lady wrote a book called Quench. That's Dana Cohen and Gina Bria. Quench. And she happened to be studying, she's a researcher, another lady's a doctor. She was studying hydration. And she had the experience, ironically, of her mother being in an assisted living facility, and she was not drinking enough water, and she was getting dehydrated, and it was really causing problems. In the book Quench, Beat Fatigue, Drop Weight, Heal Your Body Through the New Science of Optimum Hydration. So what she did in her research was she was researching why desert-dwelling tribal people, indigenous peoples, aren't carrying around water bottles and drinking water all day long. They're not. How are they doing it? Well, they're creating a gel water. They use plants that are native to that area, and they create a gel water. When they create this gel water, it hydrates them more fully, and then they're able to not be drinking half their body weight in ounces. Now, I'm not saying drink a lot less than that, but you should find your balance of what works best for you with this kind of hydration. So I want to show you a little bit on, and there's lots and lots of ways to increase the hydration potential, the absorbability of water. I'm just going to give you a few ways to look at this, and then you can explore on your own. I'm only going to cover a few because they're literally, I could like talk for 2 hours on this. Okay, so one of them, and I want to demonstrate that one, is using, this is what the desert people were using, and it's just a brand. I'm not endorsing it. This is how many ones I got at Whole Foods. Organic chia seeds. So you take the chia seeds and you take a teaspoon of chia seeds. Have to get them on the computer laptop, right? You take your chia seeds. You put them in the glass. The ratio is, now you can play with this. The ratio is approximately 10 to 1. So you want 1 tablespoon, yeah, that's tablespoons. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 10 tablespoons of, you can use water, but you can also use, like coconut water, you could use almond milk or coconut milk, or you could use any, goat milk, whatever. You could use some other kind of hydrating liquid as well. But you add the liquid to it, and then you let it sit for 10 to 20 minutes or so. Even just 5 minutes is good. You can let it sit longer. The longer you let it sit, the more that the chia seeds will absorb the water. And what Gina Bria found with her mom was that she went right away and she got some chia seeds, she ground them up, she put them in a package, she mailed them to her mom and to the assisted living facility, it was in another state, and asked the staff, please give this to my mother. And they did that, and they never had another episode of her being dehydrated again, as long as she was consistent with taking it. I will say, once you grind these seeds, you can use flax seeds too. But once you grind up the chia seeds, you want to use them up fairly quickly, or you want to put them into the refrigerator. If they're whole seeds, they'll last a little bit longer in a package like this. I never buy pre-ground seeds. I Vitamix is on the fritz right now, but I would even get a mortar and pestle and just like grind them up. But you could grind them in a coffee grinder or something like that. Now, if you are somebody who has diverticulitis or some other issue where you can't have seeds, you don't have to have. You can filter these out, which would mean, so the thing with filtering out is that you'd have to do it sooner rather than later, because the longer you leave it sitting in the liquid, the more it'll hydrate. Okay, so I'm letting this one sit for a while. So like this one has enough. This is 10 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of the thing. And it's got some weight to it. You can see it has a little bit of weight to it. It's getting a little mushy. You can literally use this as a substitute for pudding and actually add spices to it if you want to. I take a lot less. I'll make a big jar, and then I'll put in a little bit of the chia seeds, actually a little bit more than I would normally do. I'll probably do a teaspoon at the bottom of it, and then they just get nice and fluffy. And you can just drink off the top of that, and you're not even touching the seeds. Or you can literally take a seed and sieve them out if you can't have any kind of seeds. Because I know for some people, seeds are very touchy. So, okay. So, all right, so that's the I also add, and I want to mention here, and you can drink this throughout the day. I will say, so one of the nice things about being better hydrated is that you can drink throughout the day and then not be having to run to the bathroom at night, because it's hydrating you more fully, which is really nice. Isn't it nice to sleep through the night? She also mentions adding a little pinch of salt. Now, I'm not talking about table salt. I didn't want to bring like my little Morton's salt shaker thing, but totally honest, I did not know. And if you look at the bottle, you'll see this. I did not know on these big things of salt that you get at the grocery store, most of them have anti-caking agents in them. So look at the label and read it. Does your salt have some kind of anti-caking agent in it? And you don't want to consume that. So that would be salt that you could use maybe as a salt scrub or something on your face. But even that, I don't think I would do that. And I never realized this until I was making my own hypochlorous acid. So sometimes I use Himalayan salt. Sometimes I use Celtic sea salt. There's lots and lots of different beautiful salts out there. I have been to some of the salt mines in Germany and Austria, and they have all different colors of salt. There's red salt, pink, green, black, all these different types of salt. I generally do I also have like a trace mineral drops that I take. Again, I don't care about brand here, but I would just put a few little drops of the drops in there. I just put a little, right, too much. I just put a few on top. And that's it makes the water into an electrolyte, and the electrolyte is going to be more absorbable for your body. I've gotten so spoiled now, not spoiled, but I've gotten so used to drinking electrolyte water is that it's actually hard for me to drink it without this. I really notice a difference in it. And I believe with the trace minerals, I think it's from Utah, from the Great Salt Lake area. It's called Concentrate Trace Mineral Complex. This is like the Swanson's brand, but the other one, the ionic trace minerals, is 20,000 volts, I think is another product name for it. But it has some of the sodium taken out of it, so it's not heavy sodium. It's got magnesium, chloride, sodium, potassium, sulfate, lithium, boron into the thing. So that's it's just another way of adding electrolytes to you. Another simple way to add electrolytes, and not electrolytes, sorry, but be hydrating, is eat it. Eat it. Get a watermelon, chop it up in little pieces, and drink your fruit. Literally drink your fruit. So any fruit that is very full of liquid is going to be a good thing. So I got the little watermelons, and that's another really good way to be hydrated. There's product. There are these things called fulvic acid and humic acid. So it's like hydrated dirt, basically. And fulvic acid and humic acid, they make water wetter by making the water a surfactant. And so it kind of breaks the surface tension on the water. It helps you absorb it better. It helps you even if you take some of these things with Your vitamins, like you put it in the water, you use it as the water that you drink when you take your vitamins. It can help your vitamins absorb better. It's another thing too. So one of the really super famous products, Zach Bush talks about this one, is called Restore. It's excellent. That's a really good product. So I kind of got my start into the fulvic acid and humic acid. And he talks extensively about this. You can find it on YouTube. I kind of went a slightly cheaper route and I got Willard's water. This is the clear concentrate. And again, I'm not selling anything. The dark concentrate, also really good. I actually buy this by the gallon. I like it so much. So I do the buy one, get one free at Christmas time. On that, and I'll add just like a little tiny, you only need a teeny tiny little bit of this. So you take a teeny tiny little bit of the fulvic and the humic acid. Again, it's a surfactant. It makes the water wetter. You absorb it better. And it just generally, I just notice a difference. I give that to my pets too. I do. I put that in my pet water bowls as well. The electrolytes, they get the electrolytes. Sometimes they get the gel if they need it, if they're dehydrated. And they definitely get the different, either the clear or the dark concentrate of the Willard's water. Okay, got my own thing set up here. Okay, so a couple more fun ones. Now I'm going to go a little esoteric here on you guys. This is a fun one that you can do as well, and that's you can use magnets. You can take magnets. Always makes me so nervous putting water on my computer, but I'm setting it up. You take the magnets, and so I have two magnets here. I have different ones. I'll show you two different ones. You take the magnets, you put the opposing sides towards each other. So when I'm pushing the magnets together, they are repelling one another, right? So you don't feel this, but I feel it. And if I put them the other way, they would, oh yeah, they do it that way. I think it goes this way. So they normally flip like that, but like this, you take them, you put them on either side of the jar of water like that, and you put, I want to do a demo here. And you put a little, ooh, this is, okay, maybe not. I can't hold the rubber band. Wait, maybe I can do it. Actually, you know what? I don't want to put the magnets on my computer. That makes me nervous. So you would take the rubber band them around a piece of tape, around the glass, around that part, and you put the magnets around it. And it energizes the water. Now, I can't explain why this is more hydrating, the whole science behind magnets and water, but I know that it works. I have one that I've been using for a long, long time. Oh, here it is. This one actually, it creates a little bit of a vortex energy with the water. I have one that I have on my garden hose. This one that it has like the two magnets together, but these are not repelling each other. It's like a piece of metal, and then the magnet parts that are doing the repelling part are opposite each other. So I put this in the garden hose, and that's supposed to help your vegetables be more hydrated in your garden. But I cheated a little bit, and I took it out of the garden and I put it on my whole house water filter at the tap, because I thought, I'm actually not growing anything right now in the garden. The rabbits got the best of me this past year. So doesn't have to be fancy magnets. These are some of the biomagnetism magnets used for healing. The idea is that you just put the repelling parts together around the glass like that. And when I push it together, they're literally pushing my hands. You can't see it, but they're pushing. Like I would have a hard time pushing these guys together. Yeah. Okay. Put these away where they're not going to hurt the computer. Okay. Another one I've done for making water wetter and more hydrating is light therapy. So, and again, I don't know the full explanation behind why this works. I just know that it does. So I have a little handheld light unit. I don't think this company is in business anymore. It's old. Oh my God, probably 15 years old. That's why I like. I love stuff that was made a while ago, such quality. Anyway, actually that's blue light. There's red light. So you just hit the red light and put it on the glass and just hydrate it a little bit. I don't know why it works, but it does. It's something about putting the red light. I've also done it this way, although that can get a little dangerous. You don't want to drop your light into the thing. I have this light now. And these are great pain relievers too. I actually got the lights to use for pain, but then I started treating my water because it's interesting. And this you only have to do for maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Chia seeds need to be 5-10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. The magnets, I think 2 minutes. So they're really fast like that. So Um, and since I mentioned the tap water, I want to talk for a second about your water quality. So hydration it's not just about drink more water, drink structured water as a gel, and whatever the treatments you do it. You got to start with a good product to start with. Like your water needs to be good water to start with. And this is such a huge topic, and I don't want to go too deep into the water, but I'll stay in the shallow end for a minute, but I just want to give you guys an example of tap water and filtration systems. There's a lot of different filtration. There's like reverse osmosis. You can do distilled water. You can have one of those water pitchers that filters. You can have a water filtration at your sink. I have a whole house water filter that we got some years ago, and you change it out. There's a filtration cartridge in there, and you change that filter cartridge out it's supposed to be every month, but honestly, I'm not using that much water, so I don't change it every month. It's probably about 3 months. But I wanted to give you an example of the tap water that comes in through your tap to your home and what you would be drinking if you didn't filter it. Now, I get it that not everybody has the ability to buy like a whole house filter. I think on my next round, I probably would get like the sink one. But anyway, I wanted to give you an example. So this is a normal water filter, right? It's brand new. It's still in the little plastic. It's still in the plastic wrap. And this is what would fit in my whole house water filter, which is out in the garage. I changed the filter today for you guys, just to show you what a filter looks like after it has been. Now, this is the filter of our city tap water coming in. This is what it looks like, you guys. Do you see this? This is the filter that I just pulled out of our filtration system an hour ago. Oops, I don't want it to drip on the computer. Now it's just going to drip on my lap. So I just want to give you an example of the color. Look at the color. That's all that's all the stuff coming out of the tap water that was filtered out. And I don't know what all's in here. I don't know if it's chemicals or toxins or bacteria or just sediment, or I don't know what it is, but how long was that in use? Totally honest, I'm gonna guess maybe 3 months or so. But honestly, it's a lighter brown when I do it, if I were to do it every month. I don't need to do it every single month because I don't go through like 100,000. I mean, not 100,000. I don't go through like 10,000 gallons of water. But I just want to give you that as an example. I'm saying that now. I will say this on water. So find out. I put it in the thing so it wasn't dripping all over the place. Yeah, a little scary. This actually does make me want to change it more often. Seeing that today is like bad. Find out where you live. Where does the water come from? Where's your spring or aquifer, your source coming from? And I say that this way. A few years ago, I went to what we called Tri-County Water School. So it was kind of a stakeholder meeting for interested people in water. And it was a little bit, there was a couple citizens there, just like interested people like me. But for the most part, these were the experts. They were the research people. They were the water quality people. They were the people actually running our water treatment facilities. So it was very science-based. And it was like a 4-day workshop. And we did field trips and everything. And my table partner, the person I was paired with for the workshop, was actually the head of our water treatment facility, which is Brooker Creek Preserve. So I think it's a county preserve. And that preserve has a pump that goes down to the aquifer. And what they were telling us was that it's North County for us in our county. So I'm kind of mid-county. But they were telling us that the water from the North County, so if you lived up North County where you were close to the source, the water would be the best. That would be the best quality because you're getting it really close to the source. They said by the time it gets South County, and our county's, I don't know, it's a good question how many miles long our county is, probably 20 or 30. I have no idea. But anyway, by the time it gets South County, the water has been sitting in pipes overnight en route to somebody's home down south for 5 days. 5 days accumulating gunk that ends up coming out of your tap. So now here's the other thing. If you have a a municipal water treatment, then your water will be a little different, a little, I don't know, I say cleaner, but it would be less at risk for that 5 day, like it's been sitting for 5 days. Now, I don't want to make people feel bad. Don't think like, oh my God, I can't afford a whole house water filter. I can't even afford a sink filter. What am I going to do? I will say this. just run the water for 2 or 3 minutes first. You should do this anyway. Everybody should do this. Run the water for 2 or 3 minutes from the sink when you first wake up in the morning. So you kind of get rid of that top layer or that first layer of water that's going to be not that good. Okay, so let's see. Got here. Oh, it's no kind of fancy red light, you guys. It's just a LED. It's a little LED light. Regular. You can use any. You can get any LED light you could buy off of Amazon or eBay. Is fine. Or you can get a fancier one. I think there's some laser guy or something that has lasers that he sells, but I can't recommend. I don't have any that I've used any recently. Oh, this was another one. This is like a little plate. I have to get the carafe. The people who owned it and gave it to me as a gift accidentally sold the vase that goes on it, thinking it was just a plant vase at a garage sale. But it's a little device that spins the water and creates a vortex. And that vortex energy is the same idea with the magnets. You can actually stir it that way too. That vortexing creates a structured water as well. And that's really, really good for you. All right. Anything else I want to go over here? Oh, yes. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about. And then let me go to YouTube and see if there's any questions. A second. Okay. Where do you buy those magnets? Okay, which ones we're talking about here? The biomagnetism magnets are actually healing magnets. Those are the round ones. The other ones I can put it in the show notes, but they are called Biomag Science. Those are the blue ones, the standing up ones. You don't have to be fancy, you guys. You just want them to be like a certain Gauss. Although off the top of my head, I don't know the Gauss, but I have this kit. It's called a little wellness kit. And the little wellness kit had the blue magnets in it that are the water magnets. I would do something stronger than a refrigerator magnet. I don't think that's going to cut it. The refrigerator magnet is not going to be that. Mayu, yes, it is. Yes, someone said that this is called the Mayu. So if you plug it in, it must be some kind of little magnetic spinning thing in there. It creates a vortex. They love Viktor Schauberger. They have a whole little shout out on Viktor Schauberger's website. You know, it's interesting. I will tell you this about Viktor Schauberger and the vortex energy. My family went to the Schauberger Institute in Austria and took a workshop on water and water quality. This has got to be more than 20 years ago now. And there was a guy in the class there, and he was studying water. And what he ended up doing, he wanted to invent a better way to freeze water using the principles that were taught at the Schauberger Institute, Viktor Schauberger's information on water and water quality and movement. And he ended up designing, and he invented a system that made snowmaker. What would you use that for? He gets hired at the Olympics every year, the Winter Olympics, interestingly, since we're on Summer Olympics right now, but he gets hired for the Winter Olympics to make snow. And he took those principles from the Schauberger Institute. Interesting. Now, I want to say, it's not my goal in this talk to say to you that you have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff to make your water better. You can, for example, on the cheap, you could just get like a little stirring stick of some kind and just sit there and vortex your water by stirring it. Just stir it yourself. You know, by vortexing means making a little swirl. Just swirl your water, not like this, but I would really get a stirring stick and stir. I would just like stir your water up, make it have some movement. That's really good. The Schauberger people one of the companies related to them sells an egg, because Schauberger talks about an egg being this good energy in the universe, and it creates a natural spiral within it of the water. But all those things aside, let's say you can't afford to go out and buy any of this stuff. Although honestly, GFCs are cheap. These are probably, I don't remember how much they were, but $5, $8, something like that. You can use the power of your mind to help your water as well. So this is it's just one of many, many, many books by Masaru Emoto, The True Power of Water. I met him many, many times. He was a Japanese researcher, The Hidden Messages in Water, New York Times bestseller. He and he was in several movies too. But I met him. He came here speaking, and then he did a blessing of the Gulf one time after the oil spill. So I met him there too. And he took photographs of water before and after, and he would freeze the water. So he would do the water drop before, and then he would pray over it or put a word, an affirmation on a piece of paper and set the glass like on top of the piece of paper with the affirmation on there. And he did all these things, and the after photos of the crystals from the water were spectacular. Now, if you want to be picky and discerning, you could say, well, maybe he cherry picked the photos. I don't know that. I know that when I met him, I felt a very genuine energy, and I really genuinely believe what he was talking about was true. I believe you can take your hands, cup the water, or you could, Donna Eden does a little routine. I'm trying to figure out how I could raise this up a little bit and show you, but she has a little routine where she has, figure out how to do this. She has you create a little pyramid over, so over the item, right? Like that. And just say a little prayer over it. So make a little pyramid over your food or your whatever it is. Say a little prayer over it. You know, this water is hydrating for me. This water is healthy for me. My body is consuming this water. It's going into the cells, supercharging my cells, going everywhere in my body where it needs to go. And so it is. And just say a little prayer over it. So, I mean, there's super simple, easy ways that, and, you know, not to offend anybody who doesn't use prayer, but there's super simple ways that you can make affirmations around the water and have it be more hydrating and healing. Do I know if there's research studies on that? There's a lot of research studies on the power of prayer, including with the universities. All right, let me check back here again. Okay. All right, so I think that's going to be everything. I'm going to check chat here for a second. Oh, interesting. Someone mentions that the stirring direction is different for the northern and southern hemisphere. Okay, I have no idea. That is very interesting. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm talking northern, and actually, I don't know. You know what? I would use your intuition on this one, which direction, like, you know, she's thinking probably stirring clockwise or counterclockwise. Use the one that feels right to you. Use your own judgment, your own discernment. I suppose you could muscle test it and see. I probably tend to stir clockwise, I think. I do, but you know, once I get this charged up and running again, the little Mayu thing, I will let you know which direction that vortex goes. Any magic to alkaline or hydrogen or hexagonal water? Yeah, so I don't know about the hexagonal, but I have a hydrogen water generator at my sink as well, and it's also alkaline and hydrogen both. It's not, what's the famous one? Kangen. I don't have a Kangen. Honestly, the talking that it talks to you used to bug me. I had a friend who had one, although I used to get water from them occasionally. I would fill up. So when I was visiting them, I would get some of the Kangen water. The alkalinity was really nice. I have one called Valera, and I really like that. It was kind of pricey, but you can gauge the pH. Like if you wanted a skin pH water, you would run it a little slightly acidic, and then you would put that on your skin. If you wanted it higher acid or higher alkalinity, you can just press the button and take it up a little bit higher. And it also it electrifies the water, so it's running a current through the water, and that's really nice water, I will say, because I actually took a bunch of bottles to my muscle testing doctor, and I said, check these, like check the water filter before I change it, and then check the water after I change. Oh gosh, just knew we were going to spill some water here. After we charged it, or after I changed it, and it made a difference. Like I tested the best on the sink, on the Valera, on the filtered water, the one that is run through the current, the one that is, it's not I don't run alkaline usually. I just run it regular pH, you know. Sorry, I have to wipe my book off. I spilled my chia water on my book. All right. Yeah, that's the other thing too, correct. I didn't actually mention that. All right, I'll mention that real quick. Water holds information. this was a concept that was new to me. It came to me, the first time I heard this concept of water holding information was from Hulda Clark, and Dr. Hulda Clark. She wasn't like a medical doctor. She was just a regular health doctor. She was like a physicist or something, or just PhD. But anyway, she was at a talk, and she wrote a book called Cure for All Cancers, and I saw her in person at a Rife bioresonance conference. This has got to be 23 years ago. And when I was there was hundreds of people there, and I went there because I was interested in frequency. I didn't realize it was going to be a talk about cancer and curing cancer. And the people were talking about using frequencies to cure cancer. And I didn't know about any of this. Well, one of the things that she started talking about in this talk was, she said, someday, she said, you will see that you can use water and inform it with information and have it heal people. And she said, you could use it. She said, you can run frequencies in the water of vitamin C and vitamin D and supplements and things like that. Super, super interesting. I still don't think this is 20 years later and we're still not there yet. So the people in the conference were mostly talking about Rife frequencies and what frequencies they would use curing cancer. Hundreds of them. I mean, I've heard so many stories of people that would cure cancer. It's just amazing. But the information, the water containing information, is one of the things that's coming in the future. That and probably gas, car gas being water, which might be a threat to our water supply, but I have seen it already working. Yes, I've heard this too. If you distill, distilling takes the fluoride out, correct. Those water, well, they mostly take the fluoride out, the water filters that I have at my sink. But yes, if you distill the water, supposedly you should be adding in some minerals back into it. I don't know if this is really true. I don't know if that's true or not. The rumor because I've seen research on both. Totally honest, I've seen research on both, that distilled water doesn't have minerals in it, and as it goes through your body, it pulls the minerals out of your body into the water as it's going out. So I don't know if that's 100% true or not. I know that the people I first heard talk about distilled water, lovely people. They wrote the prescription for nutritional healing books, these huge Bible books, gigantic. I say Bible, it's like a nutrition Bible. They were huge. Him and his wife, Phyllis, and Dr. Balsh was his name. I met them in person at a book talk, and they only drank distilled water. So I started drinking distilled water, thinking that, okay, that's a good thing. They recommend it, and I'll do that. And I love their books. Nothing against them. They absolutely have good material. I thought it'd be a great book, and a great thing to do. And then later, someone was testing me. I started getting sick, and someone was muscle testing me, and they're like, what are you drinking for water? And I said distilled water, and I was so mineral deficient. And so I don't know if that's from the water or not. Maybe it's the food I was eating, but I doubt it, because I was out in California and I was going to the farmer's market and eating organic every week. So I don't think that's what it was. I don't know. I don't agree with, my body doesn't like distilled water. It just doesn't. I use it for my airbrush painting. Love it, but I don't. So if you get along well with distilled water, or you want to use it for certain purposes, like I would use distilled water for a neti pot in my nose. I would use distilled water medically if I was going to be putting anything in my body, like even an enema. I would use distilled water for that. But as far as drinking it goes, probably maybe only short-term, small purposes. If you do well on distilled water, wonderful. But I personally, I don't find it to be that great. Yeah, so pitchers are okay. Water filtering pitchers, do your research. I know, I can't remember which one, but one of the brands of water, I don't want to mention it. Actually, I can't think of it right now, but I don't want to mention it. One of the water pitcher brands was not good and was actually banned, I think, in Germany. Germany's really picky. And banned in Germany because it added carcinogens into the water while it was filtering some of the things out. And they actually banned it. So look and see. Make sure that you're doing your homework on your water pitchers. If you're going to go that route, that's fine. It is another route. I want to mention bottled water for hydration too. So I don't think they even sell this anymore. I don't know. It was raw living spring water. I think it was out of Maine. Summit Springs was called. Not even sure they sell this anymore. But so be careful with bottled water. It's funny because the guy who runs our water treatment facility, who is my partner, my table partner at the workshop, he drank bottled water. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because he told everybody at the workshop, he said, if you bring empty gallon jugs, you can fill up from the tap, straight from the aquifer at the water treatment facility. Like they literally had a spigot and you could like fill your, oh my God, we were so excited. I brought like 6 gallons of water and I'm like over there putting the gallon up to the thing and filling it up and going, oh my God, water straight from the aquifer. How awesome is that? And I said, do you do this every day? Do you bring your gallons of water and fill up? And he goes, no, I buy bottled water. I'm like, why? He said, it's just convenient, you know? And I thought, oh no. He was funny. He was super nice. Anyway, but one of the interesting things that they said was bottled water. There were some people there in the workshop who tested a whole bunch of brands of bottled water. And I'm not going to name the brand, but it was a really famous one that's considered very fancy, and it's from a fancy location, island location, if that hints you anything. Anyway, that tested in illegal levels of, I forget, I think it was arsenic. I think it was arsenic. Anyway, and the company threatened to sue them if they released that information. So they never released it, but I registered it because I was dating a guy at the time who was drinking tons of that water. And I said, you know, that fancy water that you think is so great, that's not good for you, you know, because your body's taking in those toxins too, especially with the water. And you don't want to do that. There's no regulation on bottled water and what's in them. They're not required to have any proof of quality in terms of what they have in them. There's no regulation on them whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, do I occasionally drink bottled water? Sure. I make sure it's spring water, and I check where it's coming from, but because we have Zephyr Hills here. But at the same time, I just use literally filtered tap water. I mean, that's my thing. Okay, any other questions? Pure, okay, no. All right, so I think that's going to be everything for everybody. If you have, oh, someone wrote their lungs healed using a Kangen. I had inhaled degreaser on accident while cleaning a wall. Okay, that sounds horrible. Good for you though for using it that way. That's excellent. I'm looking at the YouTube chat here. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, someone said to check the direction that your toilet swirls. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so someone wrote in chat. This is a good. This is a good example of what works for one person is good for them. I've been drinking and cooking with distilled water for 29 years due to having issues with stones. No issues since. Even my hair is still gray-free. I use the Utah salt in between drinking distilled water. Okay, interesting. So maybe you can balance it out by taking the minerals separately. That's really good. Like I said, I genuinely, so if you have like water that's polluted in your area, then by all means get the bottled water that works for you and muscle test it if you need to. That's interesting though about the stones. I didn't know that. So, and the salt that I use is and I also have a larger bottle like that, like this size bottle of the Utah Salt Lake salt that I use as well. A little bit more in cooking. I don't put that too much in water. I really don't like that much salt water. I mean, I live by the ocean or by the Gulf of Mexico. So I go and I swim in the Gulf of Mexico. And that is, to me, the most hydrating thing is literally being in the water. You're in the water and, you know, I'll drink water too. And outside of being in the water and swimming in it, but you're absorbing it through that as well. And that salt water is really, really good. Oh, someone said, they said, repeat what the woman said about salt. Yeah, just that she uses the Utah salt in between drinking distilled water. All right, you all. I really appreciate everybody who stayed on this call to learn a little bit more about water. I hope some of this information helped you. I hope you look at water and experience water in a different way and understand that there's so much, water is such a complex topic. I didn't even talk about like frequency and cymatics and the beautiful water, the patterns that you can do in water and how water holds information that way with the structure as well. It's very imprintable. That's a whole other topic that I will go into another time. So I am grateful that you were here. The topic next week is going to be hydration as well. We'll have a doctor here talking really in depth about how hydration helps your vision improve, and look forward to seeing you then. And also I want to invite anybody who has any kind of eye issues or eye concerns at all, look through Claudia's channel on YouTube. There's a little search bar. You can search in there for whatever topic you're interested in, myopia or presbyopia or light, how it affects your eyes, or any kind of health issue. So eye floaters, dry eye, red eye, glaucoma, cataracts. There's a little sprinkling of everything in there. There's so much good information on there. So we invite you to enjoy that and learn more. And thank you so much for coming, and take care of yourselves, everybody.